Second best practice is the idea of solving the real issue. You know, in organizations, when people make purchasing decisions, at a manager's level, they are really just looking for utility. They're looking for lowest price, it's in my budget, it meets whatever specs I've been given as a part of the purchasing process. There's not a lot of creativity. They're not paid for creativity. Their window of evaluation is typically somewhere less than 90 days in length. They make their decisions along those lines. But as you move up the food chain, the ideas that people buy, the solutions that they're seeking, and the time frame from which they're going to go ahead and derive the value expand. So I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be successful selling large accounts out in the marketplace, you have to solve different issues than what you would solve for your smaller or mid-sized sales. So small folks buy utility, they buy price, they buy speed, they buy convenience, they buy quality. They buy the iron triangle, right? All the things we were taught in school about quality and price and speed or convenience. But what do the folks who buy the $1 million deals buy? The 8-figure and the 9-figure deals buy? Those folks buy only 3 things. They buy time, they buy money, and they buy risk. Third best practice for folks who grow really, really quickly is to get a bigger buyer's table. You can sell somebody with a checkbook on a one-on-one relationship because it's actually not the relationship that sells. It's the trust. See, the speed of trust is the speed of sale. And so developing a relationship with one person, you can only get them to buy as big as what? Their checkbook. And big organizations don't allow people to have big checkbooks anymore. Not alone. Not without other people there. And besides that, the overall organizations are more complex. They've got supply chain management, enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management systems, all these IT systems, and all of these practices that work through the organization, just-in-time inventory, all the specs that are in there, make it impossible for anybody to get a big deal done alone. So you've got two choices. Because you've probably done what I've done, right? You've gone into somebody and said, I'd like to ask you, who's the decision maker, right? And they always say, I am. And we know they're not. Because the minute the proposal comes in, what do they say? Well, I'm going to have to run this by somebody. You know, I like to spend a little bit of time with the guys from IT and see what they say, right? If you're going to do a big deal, you're going to need a big table. Because you're going to need all the people in the organization who are going to touch this deal. Because Mr. Hero, your buyer, who's so excited about what you have to offer, he's fired up. Can't wait to have what you've got. And everybody else in the organization looks at you as one of 2 things, and probably both. You look like either work or risk or both. And so their goal is to do what? Get him distracted and push him off about bringing you on board. That's what it sounds like, except they don't go ahead and challenge him. They don't go ahead and say to him, hey, listen, we shouldn't do this. This is a stupid idea. They say, I'm going to tell you what, boss. This is a great idea. This is exactly what we ought to do. Once we get that Oracle upgrade in 2011, let's start on this. As soon as we get the cultures together from our recent merger and acquisition, let's start on this. As soon as the budgeting cycle's over, let's start on this. It's always yes, later. So here's my advice to you. You need to start off with the bigger buyer's table in mind. Who are you going to touch in the sales process? Who can shoot you at the water cooler over email, by voicemail, in the hallway? Because you got 2 choices. You're going to deal with those people. And you can either deal with them in the bright white lights of the ring, or you can deal with them in the cold, dark shadows of the alley. How many of you have gotten a deal cut off from somebody you never met? Most of us. Because we didn't bring them to the room because we thought the relationship was going to be enough. But it is the speed of trust that dictates the level of sale, and you're going to need a lot more trust from an organization rather than one person if you're going to get the kinds of deals that are transformational, the kinds of deals that are going to go ahead and give you your break. Let's talk about the 4th best practice, which is thinking like a whale. When you sell to bigger companies than you You go out in the marketplace and you sell those bigger companies, you probably sell things like service, yes? You sell that you are responsive and nimble and fast, yes? You sell that you're innovative, right? You sell that they're going to have better access and more leverage to the key players in your organization than your big competitors. That's what you tell them, right? It's true, isn't it? All the things I just said are true. Innovation is baked in small batches. They're absolutely going to go ahead and become your most important customer. You'll take all their phone calls and voicemail, and you're going to go ahead and give them quick, prompt, easy responses to make their life better. Big companies, small companies, mid-sized companies love all of that. But then the big companies doesn't buy from you. They said they loved you. They said that they wanted to go ahead and do business with you. And then at the last minute, they gave you a no. See, because big companies buy from big companies because they feel like those guys are safer. They're stable. They have more resources. No one got fired for buying from IBM. That's an old saw. When you go pitch small deals, your phenomenal innovation, responsiveness, and all the other good qualities about your business, small companies can buy that. But big companies get interested in that, but in the end, they buy based upon fear. Most importantly, they buy based upon whether they are afraid of you. See, there's 4 other kinds of buying that they can do that are safer than buying from you. They could stay with the company who's currently providing them the services. That's an easy decision. They could go ahead and try and take whatever it is that you do in-house. They could go ahead and buy from the biggest provider in the industry, or they can buy from the cheapest provider in the industry. All 4 of those are easier than buying from you, because all 4 of them, they can defend later. When you're selling to a big company, it's not just good enough to be the best. It should be. But you will lose if all you bring to the table is the idea that you are the best provider of what you offer. You not only have to be the best, you have to be the safest. And for them, your buyers have to be able to sell and defend that decision later when you're not there. So when you think like a whale, don't think about all your great advantages. Think about what are their fears.